They don't call themselves the Justice Lords. They're the Justice League.
Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host, with another marvellous video. Hi everyone, and welcome to another marvellous video. It's fun to read and watch comic characters from alternate realities. It brings out reimaginations and alterations that could have happened to the original ones. Both Marvel and DC Comics have used the concept of the multiverse and parallel realities to venture out alternate versions of their characters and teams. In today's video, we'll be talking about the alternate versions of one of the most popular teams in the world of comics, the Justice League from DC. We've witnessed several renditions of the team in different forms of media, and it's time we list them out. So, without any further delay, let's begin with the part of every Justice League variant explored. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Justice Lords. The Justice Lords were a fascist form of the Justice League from an alternate reality. They were created by Stan Berkowitz and made their first appearance in the two-part episode of the Justice League TV series titled A Better World, released on November 1st, 2003. The story of the Justice Lords is from an alternate Earth, where the story of the superheroes and the Justice League diverged from one event, and that was Lex Luthor becoming the president. Lex established policies targeting the Justice League and was about to launch a nuclear war against them. In this reality, Luthor killed Flash, leaving the Justice League with Batman, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Martian Manhunter, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman arrived at the White House to confront Luthor, who taunted Superman more than necessary. Superman responded by killing Luthor with the heat vision, and Luthor from their reality was gone. Eventually, the team began growing dictatorial in nature. They ruled for 2 years with an iron fist and seized all the world's governments. They banned free speech, reduced the number of elections, and eliminated crime by Superman lobotomizing the criminals. Superman even began controlling his girlfriend Lois, restricting her from making phone calls, meeting guests, and even leaving her house. At some point, Justice Lord Batman discovered the existence of the multiverse with other parallel Earths. The Justice Lords decided to extend their rule to other realities and infiltrated a parallel Earth where the Justice League existed as heroes. Soon, the two teams confronted, and after a long battle, the Justice Lords were defeated and sent back to their universe. The Crime Syndicate of America. The Crime Syndicate was the evil counterpart of the Justice League from Earth 3. The team was led by Ultraman, the Superman counterpart who could ingest kryptonite and increase his powers. There was Supergirl, resembling Wonder Woman, Power Ring, the Green Lantern, Sea King, the Aquaman of their reality, Owlman as Batman, and a speedster named Johnny Quick. The Crime Syndicate was created by Gardner Fox and Mike Sekowsky and introduced in 1964's Justice League of America issue number 29. There were no superheroes in the reality of Earth 3 except for Lex Luthor, who used his intelligence to combat the Crime Syndicate. They later appeared as Crime Syndicate of America in the 2000 JLA Earth 2 graphic novel. A similar group from Earth 3, known as Crime Society, made their appearance in 52 issues 52 and was later featured in the countdown to Final Crisis. Crime Society was yet another Golden Age version of the group and remained until it was removed from the continuity after 2011's Flashpoint and the New 52 company-wide reboot. Finally, it concluded with one group, Crime Syndicate from Earth, making its first appearance in Justice League Volume 2, issue number 23, published in October 2013. Justice Incarnate. The Justice Incarnate was a team of heroes dedicated to deal with multiversal threats. They made their first appearance in Grant Morrison's Multiversity issue number 2, published in June 2015, and consisted of members from different realities. The Justice Incarnate was led by Calvin Ellis, aka President Superman from Earth 23, and consisted of Thomas Wayne, Batman, Captain Carrot, Ariel Curry, the Aqua Woman from Earth 11, Dino Cop, Dr. Multiverse, a speedster named Red Racer, Flash Avery Ho, and Mary Marvel, who commanded powers of biblical proportions by shouting Shazam. President Superman assembled the team after the Gentry made its way to destroy the multiverse. The team fought numerous enemies and even confronted the vicious Batman who laughs. At some point, when the prophecy was hunting the Supermen of the multiverse, the Justice League Incarnate warned Kal-El of New Earth and Kal-El of Earth 30, and later aided in finding the Superman of China, Kong Kenan. Superman intended to use their multiversal traveling ship, Ultima Thule, as bait and take it to the prophecy, which made them end up with no other way of returning to their reality. Eventually, Red Racer sacrificed himself to make them a new ship, using which they remained successful in saving the Supermen. Justice Society of America. The Justice Society of America, aka the Justice Society, was created by writer Gardner Fox and editor Sheldon Mayer during the golden age of comics. They made their first appearance in All-Star Comics issue number 3, published in December 1940. The members included Dr. Fate, Hourman, Sandman, Atom, Green Lantern, the Spectre, Hawkman, and Jay Garrick as Flash. In 1940, when German Chancellor Adolf Hitler acquired the Spear of Destiny and intended to use it and dominate Europe, American President Franklin Delano Roosevelt took the initiative and selected Green Lantern Alan Scott and Jay Garrick, aka The Flash, to fight against Hitler's forces in secrecy. The two were initially taken down by the Nazi officer, Major Stryker's colossal robot Mordmaschine, or Murder Machine, and their unconscious bodies were sent to Germany as a gift for the Führer. Hitler captured the two heroes and presented them before the masses while using the Spear of Destiny to summon an army of Norse Valkyrie to escort a prototype long-range bomber targeted towards Washington, D.C. The two heroes managed to break free but couldn't do enough to stop the bomber from taking off. All this while Dr. Fate, knowing Hitler's plans, had assembled Atom, Hawkman, Hourman, and the Spectre to fight against the Nazi forces. They successfully managed to destroy Nazi warships and secure England's shores, following which they met Flash and Green Lantern. They successfully managed to destroy the bomber, but one of the Valkyries named Gudra infiltrated the White House to assassinate President Roosevelt. Although the Atom stopped Gudra's first attack on the president, she managed to plunge a spear the second time and kill him. Spectre pleaded with the voice of God to resurrect him, to which the voice agreed. Roosevelt was resurrected, but with the warning that he was fated to die again on the eve of his country's triumph over the Axis powers. The team then got the name Justice Society of America. They eventually gained popularity in the late 1940s, but ceased to exist with All-Star Comics issue number 57 in March 1951. Later, during the Silver Age of comic books, several Golden Age superheroes were introduced in a team named Justice League of America. The absent members of the Justice Society of America were brought after 10 years when Jay Garrick appeared alongside Barry Allen in The Flash, issue number 123, published in September 1961. It was established that the Justice Society was a Justice League counterpart from Earth 2, and later they teamed up with the Justice League from Earth, one between 1963 and 1985. Later, during the 1985 Crisis on Infinite Earths limited series, they were merged into the same reality of Justice League and existed as superheroes from the time of World War II. Justice League Dark. The Justice League Dark was a team of occultists, sorcerers, magicians, and supernatural beings dedicated to protecting the world from threats beyond the scope of the traditional Justice League members. They made their first appearance in Justice League Dark, issue number 1, released in September 2011. Madame Xanadu assembled the Justice League Dark, initially consisting of Deadman, John Constantine, Shade, the Changing Man, and Zatanna. There were several new members in the group. At some point, even Batman worked alongside the team. They also appeared in animated series titled Justice League Dark and Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Madame Xanadu organized the group after she foresaw a horrifying future, believing that only the team could stop the threat. When the entire team met for the first time during the final confrontation against Enchantress, who went on a rampage after being separated from her host June Moon. With no other option, John Constantine bonded her back to her host, and the rampage of Enchantress came to an end. Following this, Deadman, Shade, Constantine, and Zatanna began having terrifying nightmares. They again visited Madame Xanadu, who informed them that the nightmares would be in their reality if they didn't form the team. This eventually created the team Justice League Dark. Justice League of Assassins. The Justice League of Assassins was showcased during the Multiplicity event when the Prophecy kept hunting down the Supermen from different realities and draining their energy. As showcased in Superman Volume 4, Issue 15, Cosmic Threat, known as Prophecy, had sent his minions to many parallel Earths to capture the Supermen. One such reality was Earth 14, where the Justice League of Assassins existed. As the horde of creatures scorched Earth 14 for Superman, they encountered the Justice League of Assassins, a band of loyal soldiers surviving in a ravaged world. They had their own Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Flash, and Harley Quinn. Except for Superman, the rest lacked superpowers like their Prime Earth counterparts and relied on weaponry resembling the nature of the powers from Prime Earth. Wonder Woman had her golden lasso as a part of her machine gun. Green Lantern had a gun mounted on his shoulder that could fire green energy blasts, and Flash possessed a weapon that could fire lightning bolts. Only Superman, who appeared in a mask and suit, was shown to have superpowers. He could shoot lasers from his eyes and fire energy blasts from his hands. In this reality, Superman had no skin, and a bright red S was seared into his chest. Although Batman was the first to go down, the team fought valiantly against the Prophecy's minions and even defeated them. Finally, the Prophecy arrived on Earth 14 and, with a blast of energy, decimated every member of the Justice League of Assassins, except Superman. He released a blast of energy that sliced Green Lantern and Aquaman through the chest, Wonder Woman and Harley Quinn through the middle, and Flash through his waist. Superman was then captured, following which the Prophecy drained out his energy. Justice League 3000. The Justice League 3000 was a team of superheroes from the 31st century. Created by Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, and Howard Port, the team made their first appearance in Justice League 3000 Issue 1, published in February 2014. The 31st century was in a complete mess as a collection of godlike super beings known as the Five wrecked civilization. Finally, a group of researchers decided to use the genetical material of the long-gone superheroes from Project Cadmus and created their very own team of superheroes. Finally, they made the forgotten superheroes Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Green Lantern. Their first mission was on Flatmus 12, looking to rout a garrison where they had to encounter Locus, one of the Five. It ended painfully as Locus kidnapped Green Lantern, killed Flash, and imprisoned them on planet Takron Galtos. The League later defeated the Five, but that didn't end the misery. Ariel had created a serum which, if injected into an individual, would transform their body and mind into that of their desired superheroes. In the process, Lois Lane took over her body and managed to put an Injustice League together. Although popular heroes were brought back, there were several minute differences, like there was no bond of friendship between Superman and Batman, and the two despised each other. Flash lacked his anti-friction aura, Green Lantern never had a ring, and was a living incarnation of the Green Lantern's power. Superman had superhuman strength but lacked the ability to fly, or his heat vision.
We should split into teams if we're to have any hope of defeating the Injustice Guild.
Justice Guild of America. The Justice Guild of America was a team of superheroes from an alternate reality resembling the 1950s. They made their first appearance in the two-part episode titled Legends from the Justice League animated series. Later, their stories were stitched with the mainstream universe comics, making them serve as fictional comic book characters. The Justice Guild consisted of heroes closely resembling both Silver Age and Golden Age heroes. They were Green Guardsmen, similar to Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Black Siren being the Black Canary equivalent, Tom Turbine, resembling the Atom from the Golden Age, and the Speedster, known as the Streak. There were later additions like Catman, which was an amalgamation of Earth 2's Batman and Golden Age Wildcat. Stanley's Justice League. More than 20 years ago, Stan Lee, who's known for innumerable brilliant Marvel characters, had once worked for DC Comics. When Lee started working, he was tasked to work on the Justice League, and he had his own take on the iconic heroes. He made a series of one-shot comics published under the banner Just Imagine, and the Justice League was stated to be from Earth 6. The members were nearly the same as Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, and Aquaman, but their characters were completely different. Batman wasn't the billionaire businessman Bruce Wayne, but a man named Wayne Williams, who sought vengeance against the criminal who had framed him for crimes he didn't commit. With the help of scientist Frederick Grant, Williams eventually became a wrestler going by the alias Batman. He became a superhero and fought crime with his strength and agility, but had no detective skills. Superman was a lawbringer on Krypton named Salden, and arrived on Earth in search of an escaped convict. However, his abilities were similar to that of his mainstream counterpart. Wonder Woman wasn't a warrior like the one we know of, and instead was an activist on Earth named Maria Mendoza, who gained her powers of spirits of light from the Incas with the help of a staff that helped her to become Wonder Woman. Flash was a college girl named Mary Maxwell who obtained her super speed after her father injected her with the DNA of a hummingbird. Aquaman was a marine biologist named Ramon Raymond, who attained his powers after being exposed to a strange glowing green liquid during his expedition. The Green Lantern of the reality was an archaeologist named Leonard Lewis, who traveled to Africa and found the Yggdrasil, the tree of life which chose him as the champion and granted him mystical powers. New Reichsman. Created by Grant Morrison, the New Reichsmen were the superhuman champions of Germany from an alternate reality of Earth 10. They were introduced in the Multiversity Guidebook Issue 1, published in March 2015 as a team serving Adolf Hitler. The Nazi team consisted of Overman, equivalent to Superman, Overgirl, cloned from the cells of Overman, Leatherwing, a descendant of the enemy race, Brunhilde, Nazi Martian Manhunter, Nazi Green Lantern, and Nazi Red Tornado. Using a team of superheroes, Hitler managed to win the war and defeat America on April 20th, 1956, following which he found dominance and influence in the world. Shadow Pact. Shadow Pact could be best described as the Justice League for the supernatural. They debuted in Bill Willingham's Day of Vengeance Issue 1, published in June 2005, after which they had their self-titled series with 25 issues released between 2006 and 2008. The Shadow Pact was a team of occultists, and as stated by the wizard Shazam, the name Shadow Pact existed throughout history as a group of mystic warriors. The team was formed by Enchantress, Detective Chimp, and Ragman in an urgency to get rid of the Spectre, who intended to destroy all forms of magic in the universe. Soon, Legion, Nightshade, Nightmaster, and Blue Devil also joined the team, and the entire group was aided by the Phantom Stranger, Captain Marvel, Wizard Shazam, and Black Alice. During the battle with the Spectre, Captain Marvel was defeated, and so was the Wizard Shazam. Following this, Black Alice decided to leave the battle with her father in Dayton, Ohio. The team was then left with 6 members, with whom Bill Willingham began Shadow Pact Issue 1. They were Enchantress, Detective Chimp, Nightshade, Nightmaster, Blue Devil, and Ragman. Shadow Pact also appeared in the Deceased saga in Deceased, Dead Planet Issue 2. It was no longer a team of only mystic warriors, which is understandable as most of the heroes on the planet were infected with the corrupted anti-life equation. The team had Blue Devil, John Constantine, Ragman, Red Hood, Detective Chimp, Ravager, and Zatanna. However, while facing off against an infected Plastic Man, they lost Blue Devil and Ragman. Extreme Justice. Extreme Justice was formed by Captain Atom, who wanted a team more proactive than the Justice League. It happened when the United Nations didn't treat them well after Judgment Day. Captain Atom wanted the Justice League to have no association with the United Nations, while Wonder Woman thought otherwise. This led Captain Atom and his followers to leave and form the team Extreme Justice. The team was led by Captain Atom and comprised Maxima, Booster Gold, Blue Beetle, Amazing Man, Firestorm, and Plastique. The fully functional Extreme Justice was showcased in their self-titled comic series. The series was written by Dan Vardo and ran for 18 issues from 1995 to 1996. The team dealt with threats to the United States and had its headquarters at Mount Thunder. At some point, Captain Atom and his team led an invasion of Bialia, where most of them had lost their friends. The current ruler, Queen Beatrice, was then rebuilding her army of extremists. The Justice Extreme invaded the country and destroyed robot-like entities that defended the Queen. However, it was later revealed that the robot-like beings were made of the country's population, which Captain Atom's team decimated. This action was enough to disband all versions of the Justice League from the planet. Justice League International. Contrary to the previous one, the Justice League International had sponsorship from the United Nations. The team was a reimagination of the Justice League, hoping to be globally inclusive. They made their first appearance in 1987's Justice League Issue 1. The issue was written by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis, with art by Kevin Maguire. But owing to editorial conflicts, the team had new characters like Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. The other members were Batman, Black Canary, Captain Marvel, Dr. Fate, Dr. Light, Guy Gardner, Martian Manhunter, Mr. Miracle, Big Barda, and Oberon. At some point when the world was without a Justice League, Darkseid used evangelist G. Gordon Godfrey to portray the heroes as villains to the world. Despite all that effort, many superheroes stepped out, following which Dr. Fate assembled them. Justice League Europe, created by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis. The Justice League Europe first appeared in Justice League International Issue 24, published in February 1989. Following this, the team had their self-titled comic series published from April 1989 to May 1993. The series was a spin-off of Justice League of America with 50 issues, following which issue 51 was considered the first episode of Justice League International Volume 2. As their title suggests, the team was from Europe and had its headquarters in Paris, France. They fought against the Extremists, who were supervillains similar to Marvel's Magneto, Dr. Doom, Dr. Octopus, Sabretooth, and Dormammu. The Justice Legion Alpha. In the distant future, around the 9th millennium, the Justice League of America, JLA, and the Legion of Superheroes have united to become the Justice Legions. They're a bunch of superheroes with crazy powers, all working with the motive to protect the Milky Way galaxy from any threat that may arise. Now, out of all the different Justice Legions out there, the most elite one is called the Justice Legion Alpha. They're stationed on the giant planet in the galaxy Jupiter, responsible for protecting the solar system. While Legion Alpha is inspired by the original Justice League, the others resemble different superhero gangs. Some of them are similar to the Teen Titans, while others are more like Young Justice or the Legion of Superheroes. In a fascinating turn of events, the Justice Legion Alpha, the guardians of our galaxy in the far-off future, traveled back in time to the 20th century. Their mission was to invite the original Justice League to join them in welcoming Superman Prime back from his self-imposed exile in the sun. The Justice League agreed, but their trip to the future didn't go as planned. One of the members of the Legion, Hourman, got infected by a nasty techno-virus thanks to the evil Vandal Savage and a traitorous Starman from the 853rd century. The virus started spreading rapidly, affecting everyone and everything it touched, including Hourman himself. The Justice League found themselves stranded in the 20th century while the Justice League was stuck in the future. Together with the present-day heroes, the Legion worked hard to find a way to contain the virus, but as fate would have it, their solution inadvertently created a powerful and evil supercomputer named Solaris. The virus was actually sent to Earth to fulfill Solaris' creation, and now the heroes had to find a way to stop it. During the intense battle with Solaris, Starman's true colors are revealed, and he's forced to face the consequences of his betrayal. He ended up sacrificing his life to save Earth from Solaris' destructive wrath. Meanwhile, the Justice League in the future learned of Vandal Savage Savage's nefarious plans to kill Superman Prime using the only remaining piece of kryptonite, which was implanted in the past by Starman. In a clever twist of fate, the kryptonite was actually destroyed by Starman upon his redemption in the 20th century. The Justice League used this to their advantage, tricking Savage into taking Green Lantern's time-lost power ring. Then, just as the ring was launched into the sun, Superman Prime arrived on the scene and helped contain Solaris' power by causing the sun to go supernova. Vandal Savage tried to escape, but he teleported to the 20th century right at the exact moment of a nuclear bomb detonation in Montevideo, Uruguay. It was an ironic twist, as it turned out that Savage had launched the bomb himself. The whole adventure was a wild ride, full of danger, sacrifice, and a few unexpected turns along the way. The Justice Squadron. Welcome to Earth 28, a world where being a superhero or having superpowers isn't enough to keep you safe from the dangers of Darkseid and his ruthless parademon robot army. Decades after the Justice Society was nearly wiped out by a single parademon, a new group of heroes has risen to the challenge by constructing giant robots to combat these deadly foes. They are the Justice Squadron, and with the help of a young Kal-El, they're determined to take the fight to Darkseid and his minions. It might sound a bit ridiculous to some, but when faced with the threat of Darkseid's giant robot, even the mighty Justice League had to turn to Mecha to stand a chance. With their incredible skills and towering mechs, they're more than capable of taking on whatever Darkseid and his minions can throw at them. The Jurassic League. Move over, Justice League. It's time for the Jurassic League to take the spotlight. In a new 6-issue limited series from DC Comics, fans are transported to an alternate reality on Earth 27, where familiar heroes and villains have been transformed into fierce, anthropomorphic dinosaurs. Written by Daniel Warren Johnson and Juan Gideon, with art by Gideon himself, the Jurassic League takes on the role of protectors for young and vulnerable humanity, battling against villainous dinos like Jokerzard and the Legion of Doomsauria, facing off against the mighty Darkilocide. Though their miniseries may be over, fans are already clamoring for more of this savage, prehistoric world where the Jurassic League reigns supreme. Shazam Squadron of Justice. Once upon a time, two different groups of superheroes went by the name Squadron of Justice. The first group consisted of Captain Marvel and his pals, the Lieutenant Marvels. They later became better known as the Marvel Family, and the Squadron of Justice moniker fell out of use. The second group was formed by the god Mercury, who called upon heroes from both Earth 1's Justice League, consisting of Superman along with Green Lantern, the Flash, and others, and Earth 2's Justice Society of America. Batman along with Robin, Green Lantern, the Flash is a part of this group. Earth 1 has Hawkgirl, while Earth 2 has Batgirl. It's quite an incredible divide amongst the mighty saviors to help save the Elder Gods and Wizard Shazam from King Kull of the Beastmen. The Marvel family couldn't help because Shazam was paralyzed and couldn't use his magic to transform them. King Kull wanted to destroy humanity on all 3 Earths, so his subjugated Beastmen could rule once more. The heroes split up, with some going to Earth 2 to fight King Kull's agents there. The villains were defeated with ease, and then a strange cloud appeared and threatened to sink every continent and island on Earth. Superman saved the day by freezing the cloud and throwing it into the head of a passing comet. Meanwhile, on Earth S, some crazy stuff was happening. There was a weird eclipse causing one side of the planet to be in perpetual darkness and the other in continuous light. Volcanoes were erupting in Canada, and Hawkman's shoulder turned to stone when he flew too close to one. Off the coast of Atlantis, an iceberg transformed anything that came near it into ice. In Colorado's Garden of the Gods, rock formations came to life and turned people to stone, and a building's steel frame began walking away, turning all the construction workers into iron. Batman, Robin, Mr. Scarlet, and Pinky investigated and found that the Joker and an old enemy of Bulletman's, the Weeper, were behind it all. They used Joker gas to turn people into living diamonds and then stole the diamonds and jewels. The heroes followed the trail and quickly defeated the villains and their thugs. Justice Titans, Earth 32. Earth 32 is a place where you won't find your typical superheroes. The world is full of unexpected and unusual power combinations that have resulted in the formation of the mighty Justice Titans. Bruce Wayne, usually known as Batman, has been bestowed with the Green Lantern's power ring by the Lantern Corps, making him the only Bat Lantern of Earth 32. He uses his exceptional detective skills, along with the power ring, to strike fear into the hearts of all wrongdoers. The Justice Titans are a group of exceptional heroes, and each of them is a unique blend of 2 well-known superheroes. Black Arrow is a warrior skilled in archery. Wonder Hawk wields a spiked mace and a powerful golden lasso. Aquaflash can move at lightning-fast speeds and is a master of the sea. At the same time, Super Martian has the strength of superhuman and telepathic abilities to match. This eclectic mix of heroes has formed the Justice Titans, making Earth 32 an even more exciting place to live as they protect and defend it against all forms of evil. Justice League Task Force. In the early 90s, the Justice League was a superhero team that was featured in not 1, not 2, but 3 different comic book series. They were busy saving the world, but fans couldn't get enough. So, DC Comics decided to spin off one of those stories into its own monthly comic book, Justice League Task Force. This new series followed a team sanctioned by the United Nations, just like the Justice League Europe before them. In fact, some of the members of the Justice League Task Force were former members of the JLE. The team was called to action by Hannibal Martin, a UN representative who asked Martian Manhunter to select a strike team of fellow Justice League members to lead them on a very special mission. And with that, the Justice League Task Force was born. It may not have been as well known as some of the other Justice League series, but for fans who followed the team, Justice League Task Force was an exciting and action-packed ride. Over the course of 37 issues, the team faced all sorts of challenges and villains, working tirelessly to save the world from destruction. Justice League Earth 23. The Justice League of Earth 23 is a unique and diverse team composed of African-American versions of Prime Earth Justice League members, as well as some members who are not part of the Prime Earth Justice League, like Red Tornado, Steel, and Zatanna. When the character was introduced in Final Crisis, it seemed like a far-fetched concept to have Superman take on the persona of Barack Obama. But as Grant Morrison's vision for President Calvin Ellis unfolded, fans began to realize that this Superman possessed the same compassion and heroism as the original. President Ellis proved his mettle when he confronted Super Doomsday, a seemingly unstoppable monster. With his powers, he defeated the creature and saved the world. Meanwhile, the Earth 23 League features an impressive lineup of heroes like Nubia, Mr. Miracle, Black Lightning, and Amazing Man. They may differ from the Standard League, but they're no less powerful and capable of handling multiversal threats. Just a Lot of Animals, Earth C-. Just a Lot of Animals, or JLA, is a hilarious and wacky superhero team that exists within the DC multiverse. They're essentially a parody of the Justice League of America, but with a furry and fluffy twist. The origins and history of these animal superheroes remain a mystery, but it's possible that they share a similar past to their human counterparts. Interestingly, the JLA was originally created as a comic within a comic by a character named Roger Rodney Rabbit. However, much to his surprise, it turns out that the JLA was actually real and native to the Earth C- universe. Unfortunately, due to copyright laws, Rodney Rabbit was forced to stop writing about the JLA in his comics. Despite this setback, the JLA has proven to be real and valuable allies. They even came to the aid of the Zoo Crew when they were in desperate need during a massive flood caused by the villainous Starro. The JLA helped evacuate the land animal population to their native Earth C-. However, during an encounter with the new dogs, the Zoo Crew and the refugees were accidentally transported to New Earth through a kaboom tube, and it just goes to show that anything can happen in the wild and wonderful DC multiverse. Joker League of Anarchy. The Joker has always been a wild card in the DC universe, but in the Emperor Joker storyline, he took things to a whole new level. The Clown Prince of Crime became the ruler of the world and assembled a team of villains to help him maintain his grip on power. How did he do it, you ask? Well, he got his hands on reality warping powers thanks to Mr. Mixus-Piddly. With this newfound ability, he changed the very laws of the universe, making things like 2 + 2 = fish seem perfectly normal. It's a twisted society where the Joker reigns supreme and his League of Anarchy enforces his will. But the Joker didn't stop there. He turned the world into a cube just because he could, and to make matters even crazier, he convinced everyone that being insane was actually the sane thing to do. Injustice League. The Injustice League is a notorious group of supervillains who serve as counterparts to the Justice League. They may not have the same level of fame, but they're just as dangerous and sinister as their heroic counterparts. The group's origins can be traced back to the Silver Age when they were formed by Agamemnon. Later on, Major Disaster assembled his own team to fight the Justice League International, but they were eventually deputized by Maxwell Lord to form the Justice League Antarctica. The Injustice League was first created by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis, and they made their debut in Justice League International issue number 23 in 1989. The most notable version of the Injustice League was established by the infamous trio of Lex Luthor, the Joker, and the Cheetah. They formed their own organization known as Injustice League Unlimited, which was much larger and more powerful than any previous version of the team. Interestingly, the first team to be called the Injustice League of America wasn't even from DC Comics. It was actually a group of villains from the TV show Dynamite Dog Wonder, who used the name in the 14th episode of the series. It just goes to show that even the most villainous of names can have a long and complicated history. Major Disaster may sound like a pretty self-explanatory name for a supervillain, but this guy takes it to the next level. With his ability to manipulate probability, he can cause natural disasters and chaotic events with ease. His villainous career started out small, as a common criminal who hired scientists to build weapons for him, but he soon discovered that he could gain superpowers by absorbing the effects of these weapons himself. Later on, he even joined the Justice League after being invited by Maxwell Lord. But don't let that fool you. Major Disaster has also been a member of some pretty nasty groups, like the Army of Crime, the Injustice League, and the Suicide Squad. Unfortunately, his time as a villain came to a permanent end during the Battle of Metropolis when he was killed by Superboy Prime during the events of the Infinite Crisis. Speaking of Maxwell Lord, he's quite the character himself. A wealthy businessman and entrepreneur, he was responsible for putting together the Justice League International and securing UN sponsorship for the group. He even acted as their leader for a while, but little did they know he was hiding a dark secret. He had powerful mind control abilities. Eventually, he betrayed the Justice League International, killed one of their members, Ted Kord, and attempted to rid the world of all metahumans. Yikes! But that's not all. Maxwell Lord has also gone by the names Black King and Lord Havoc, and has been a member of some pretty shady groups like the Arcana, the Black Lantern Corps, and the Illuminati. He even formed a team of heroes known as the Super Buddies, although, with his track record, I wouldn't exactly trust them to save the day. Young Justice. Young Justice is a group of teenage superheroes from DC Comics who fight crime independently of adult heroes. They first formed in 1998 when the Teen Titans grew up and changed their name. Initially, the team consisted of Superboy, Robin, and Impulse, but over time, more teen heroes joined. They faced off against a variety of foes, including the Mighty Endowed and Harm. Eventually, the team disbanded, but they were unofficially reformed during an invasion by the villainous Dark Opal and his Gemworld lackeys. The new team consisted of Amethyst, Impulse, Red Robin, Superboy, Teen Lantern, and Wonder Girl. The team traveled through various universes, encountered many challenges and adversaries, and helped the Justice League fight against the Legion of Doom and Leviathan. The Little League. The Little League is the most adorable version of the Justice League that you'll ever see, as long as you ignore the surprise in the Multiversity Guidebook. The concept behind the Little League is quite simple. Fans have already seen plenty of serious versions of the Justice League, so, on Earth 42, the team is anything but serious. Instead, they embark on charming and sweet adventures against the most dangerous villains of their world. Recently, the Little League made an appearance in a Young Justice ongoing series, and Impulse was so captivated by their cuteness that he threatened to devour them all. Before anyone could figure out if he was serious or not, Cyborg used his teleportation powers to whisk the Young Justice team away from the Little League's world. Justice League Elite. The Justice League Elite was formed by the Justice League themselves, but it was Vera Black's insistence that made it a reality. Vera had helped save humanity from an angry Earth and knew that a team working in the shadows was necessary. However, there was one rule that the Elite had to abide by at all times. No killing. Their missions were tough and varied, including facing off against the Blood Brothers, who wanted to wipe out an entire country, Cersei's attempt to steal the Spear of Destiny, and even the Whirligog under the control of Manchester Black's personality planted in Vera's mind. The latter incident resulted in their fake public destruction. At one point, they even had a member break their no-kill rule. Coldcast was thought to be the culprit at first, but it turned out he was under the control of the true traitor, Menagerie. Let's talk about some of the members of the Elite. Batgirl, whose real name is Cassandra, left her assassin parents as a child. After killing someone and seeing the consequences, she became the new Batgirl with Batman and Oracle's blessing, and later became Black Bat. Oliver Queen, also known as Green Arrow, was once a wealthy playboy until he was stranded on an island for years and became a master archer to survive. Major Disaster was once a villain but became a hero and had a connection to Mother Earth herself. Manitou Raven and Manitou Dawn were introduced in Justice League, the Obsidian Age, and had a unique love story. Naif, a former expert in international espionage, had a personal vendetta against metahumans, which made him a good fit for the team. Vera Black lost both her arms in a tragic factory accident but got cybernetic implants and became a hero to make up for her brother's wrongdoing. Wally West, also known as Kid Flash and later the Flash, became a member of the Justice League and had a family of his own. The Justice League Elite had a difficult task ahead of them, but with their unique abilities and dedication, they were able to fight for justice without compromising their morals. Justice League Queer. Have you heard of the Justice League Queer? It's a group of LGBTQIA+ superheroes who were formed and are led by Extrano, also known as Gregorio de la Vega. He was the first out and proud superhero and wanted to make sure that others like him wouldn't feel alone in the superhero world. One day, Syl and Aqualad were at a pride parade when a villain named Eclipso interrupted with some pretty terrible magic. The rain that fell on the parade was enchanted to feed on negative emotions like pain, rejection, rage, anxiety, and fear. But thanks to the intervention of the Justice League Queer and the combined powers of Syl and Jackson, they were able to defeat Eclipso and bring Pride back. Let's talk about some of the other awesome LGBTQIA+ superheroes in the DC universe. There's Apollo, who's similar to Superman in his powers and strength. He's also known for being one of the first openly gay superheroes in print, and he married fellow superhero Midnighter. They even adopted a child together, Jenny Quantum. Then there's Calder Arm, also known as Aqualad, who was created for the TV show Young Justice but quickly made his way into the comics. He's the protege of Aquaman and has some pretty cool powers himself. Batwoman, aka Catherine Rebecca Kane, is a wealthy heiress who was inspired by Batman to fight crime in Gotham City. She is also Jewish and a lesbian, making her one of the highest profile gay superheroes in DC. Finally, there's Bunker, a superhero of Mexican descent who isn't afraid to show off his personality and is proud of his sexuality. Overall, these superheroes are breaking down barriers and showing that representation matters in the world of comics. Justice League United. Justice League United, or JLU for short, is a team of superpowered heroes from the pages of DC Comics. The group was created by Jeff Lemire and Mike McKone and made their first appearance in the series' self-titled issue, Justice League United Issue 0, which was published in April 2014. The team is made up of Animal Man, Equinox, Green Arrow, and others. They came together after the dissolution of the Justice League of America, which was eventually sanctioned by the US government, which followed the events of Forever Evil. One member of JLU is Adam Strange, a space adventurer who first appeared in DC Comics Showcase Issue 17 in November 1958. Created by editor Julius Schwartz and designed by Murphy Anderson, Strange made his live-action debut in the television series Krypton, portrayed by actor Sean Sipos. Another member of JLU is Animal Man, whose real name is Bernhard Buddy Baker. He gained his powers after being caught in the explosion of an extraterrestrial spaceship. Baker can temporarily borrow the abilities of various animals, which he uses to fight crime. Barbara Gordon, also known as Batgirl, is a superheroine who frequently appears alongside Batman in DC Comics. She was created by a vast team of writers and artists. Batgirl was introduced in Detective Comics issue number 359 in January 1967, with her first appearance being titled The $1 Million Debut of Batgirl. Batgirl is the daughter of Gotham City Police Commissioner James Gordon and is initially employed as head of the Gotham City Public Library. Although she was retired from her Batgirl persona in Batgirl Special Issue number 1 in 1988, she later returned as Oracle, a technical advisor, computer expert, and information broker for other superheroes. Etrigan the Demon is an anti-hero who frequently allies with the forces of righteousness, despite being a demon from hell. Created by Jack Kirby, he's not your typical humanoid. With bright orange or yellow skin, sharp horns, menacing red eyes, and pointed webbed ears, he's quite a sight to behold. But what really sets him apart is his peculiar speech pattern. Etrigan communicates in rhymes, making him a unique and fascinating character to follow. Whether he's using his demonic powers to help fight evil or battling his own inner demons, Etrigan always commands attention with his distinct appearance and speech. Etrigan has been adapted into various forms of media, including animated series, films, and video games. Legion of Superheroes. The Legion of Superheroes is a famous team of superhero characters found in DC Comics American comic books. Otto Binder, a writer, and Al Plastino, an artist, created the team. The Legion comprises individuals with extraordinary abilities who live in the 30th and 31st centuries of the DC Comics universe. They first appeared in Adventure Comics number 247, which was published in April 1958. Initially, their team was closely associated with Superboy, who was Superman's teenage persona. They were depicted as a group of time travelers. However, over time, the Legion's backstory and origin were expanded, and the team was given its own monthly comic. Superboy's role was diminished, and he only appeared as an occasional guest character. Throughout their existence, the Legion of Superheroes has undergone two significant reboots. The first happened after the Zero Hour storyline in 1994, which saw the replacement of the original team with a new rebooted version. The second reboot happened in 2004 with the introduction of yet another rebooted team. The fourth version of the team was created in 2007 and closely resembled the original version. In 2019, a new series written by Brian Michael Bendis and drawn by Ryan Sook was announced by DC Comics. The story followed the Legion of Superheroes after the previous timeline was erased during Doomsday Clock. The Legion of Superheroes is a diverse team of superpowered young adults and teenagers who travel throughout the galaxy in the 30th and 31st centuries, inspiring hope and protecting those in need. Legion of Super Pets. Are you ready to hear about some super-powered pets? Well, meet the Legion of Super Pets, a team of heroic animals in the DC universe. The original members include Crypto, Streaky, Beppo, and Comet, or rather as we call them, Super Dog, Super Cat, Super Monkey, and Super Horse. Later on, Proti 2, who had the ability to shapeshift, joined the gang. They made their first appearance in Adventure Comics issue number 293 in February 1962, but you may have already met some of the members individually in earlier issues. Although the group was discontinued in the year 1986, they made a comeback in 2017. And get this, in 1998, a new version of the Justice League emerged in the crossover series DC 1 Million, set in the distant future of the 853rd century. This team, known as the Justice Legion of Super Zoomorphs, consisted of anthropomorphic animal versions of classic DC heroes. But the Legion of Super Zoomorphs is just one of many teams safeguarding the universe in this future era. All these teams fall under the umbrella of the Legion of Super Familiars, overseen by the Legion of Executive Familiars. It's not yet clear whether the Justice Legion of Super Zoomorphs is a unique team with its own agenda, or just one of the many teams under the Legion's watchful eye, like the Legion of Superheroes and the Legion of Substitute Heroes, who operate independently unless the need arises to band together. Super Buddies. The Super Buddies are a team of superheroes who were once part of the Justice League International. They've now reunited under the leadership of Maxwell Lord and his robot assistant Elron. The team includes Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, Fire, the Elongated Man, his wife Sue, and Captain Atom. Captain Marvel was also invited to join, but he declined, and his sister Mary Marvel took his place. Despite being allies, the team has a lot of issues with each other. Beetle and Booster Gold, once known as the Abbott and Costello of the JLI, now can't seem to get along and constantly argue. No one takes Ralph Dibny or Booster seriously, and Fire can't seem to see eye to eye with Mary Marvel, whom she calls Mary Poppins. In fact, Fire even rates Ralph a 4 out of 10, causing Ralph to feel inferior. Captain Atom has no idea why he's part of the team and is constantly on edge around the others. Maxwell Lord plans to use the team's image to his advantage by setting up their headquarters in a strip mall in Queens, New York. The team is even available for hire through a 1-800 number and stars in a cheesy Super Friends-style TV commercial. Despite all of their differences, the Super Buddies manage to defeat the E Street Bloodsuckers, a gang of superpowered thugs. During their first team meeting, they're captured by Roulette, who brainwashes them into fighting in her intergalactic arena. Mary Marvel and Captain Atom are pitted against each other, with Mary nearly beating Atom and Fire to death before she regains control of herself and breaks free from the brainwashing. Super Friends. Super Friends was an American animated TV series that ran from 1973 to 1985 on ABC. Produced by Hanna-Barbera, the show featured a group of superheroes based on the Justice League of America and other characters from DC Comics. The team of heroes was headquartered in the Hall of Justice, a high-tech fortress located in the heart of the metropolis. Using their automated warning system called the Trube Alert, they kept an eye out for global catastrophes that needed their attention. Over the years, the show went through various iterations, such as the all-new Super Friends Hour, Challenge of the Super Friends, and Super Friends, the legendary Superpowers show. With a total of 93 episodes and 2 backdoor pilot episodes, the show remains a beloved part of Saturday morning cartoon history. Batman and Robin even made appearances in 2 episodes of the new Scooby-Doo movies.
Everything he does from now on is your fault. It's a high price, but it's better than the alternative.
Marvelous verdict. So, we finally come to the end of the video, and we hope you've liked our content. Feel free to mention your favorite version in the comment sections, and if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks everyone.